Not your mom, not your milk. These are words that I lived by for 12 years as a teenage punk rock animal rights activist. You could have characterized me at the time as a mildly militant vegan, where every squishy bite of tofu is an act of defiance. Every plate, a mini protest. And mealtime, well, that was my soapbox to speak truth to power. You see, at that time, food was political. 12 years of vegan, and it couldn't keep up with my Ironman aspirations, so I had to shift gears, and food became purely functional. I weighed my food, I measured my food. Every mealtime was a math calculation, a formula to get to single-digit body fat percentages and endurance that could go the distance, and I saw results, so I doubled down. 6% body fat, and folks, that's when things went horribly wrong, as you can see. See, my wife and I were actually trying to have a baby at that time, and it wasn't going so well. A trip to the doctor revealed that actually my body was shutting down on me. I had what was called athlete's heart, where you're actually metabolizing your heart muscle for fuel. I was anemic, I had fatty liver, and my hypothalamus literally stopped working, which regulates, among other things, your fertility. So after a long break from racing and a slow recovery, 2 years later, I'm pleased to report that my wife and I had our first child. And that's when food became love. A small group of parents and I got together to change the way that kids eat, from bringing the very best food to little ones from the very first bite. We were on a mission, and because of that, we became one of the fastest growing food companies in America. And while we were all super focused on the health of kids, some of us, through the process, lost our health along the way. In my early 40s, I was overworked, overfed, and completely stressed out. Food became my comfort, it became my reward, and ultimately it became my nemesis. You see, I was 65 pounds heavier than I was when I was racing. I was pre-diabetic and high risk for a heart attack. I knew I had to do something. But quite frankly, after 30 years of hacking my food, I was really lost. And one question loomed large: what foods are right for me? Well, it turns out we've been asking this question since the dawn of time. One wrong food choice from one wrong tree sent the world in disarray. Just imagine if Eve actually knew what foods were right for her. From that time, the answer to the question, what foods were right for me, was based on what we could hunt and what we could gather. In the first agricultural revolution, it was based on what we could grow, what we could raise, and what we could harvest. And for the last 2 centuries, we've literally tried thousands of ways to answer that question. We've tried the grapefruit diet, we've tried the fast food diet, we've tried the cabbage soup diet, from high carb to low carb, from low fat to high fat, and everything in between. Where one day eggs are bad, the next day they're good. It's no wonder we're all so confused of what foods are right for us. And while there's been a lot of wisdom and nutrition wisdom amongst the ages, the one thing we've always gotten wrong is we've always taken a one-size-fits-all approach to food. I believe in 2017, it's going to be the era of you, the era of personalization, the era where we look inside of ourselves to the answer to the question, what foods are right for us? Powered by big data and computational biology, for the first time ever, we're actually able to tap into the nutritional insights that live inside of our DNA, our blood work, our gut microbiome, and even our metabolism. Now, I personally benefited from this approach. As a guy who's pre-diabetic and high risk for a heart attack, I literally got every test I could imagine done. I gathered up all of that biology, sat down with some specialists to help me craft a food plan that would find and unlock the healthiest version of myself. And after some work, I got the plan and I was off to the races. After 1 month, I felt amazing. After 6 months, I had lost 25 pounds and I had more energy than I had in years. And all of my blood work came back to healthy levels. You see, I had a new lease on life, but this time, for the first time, I actually let my body do the talking. So, at this point in this conversation, you may be wondering, can you actually really personalize food? Is this legit? And so to answer that question, we took one of the most notorious and arguably one of the most delicious foods and put it to the test: bacon. Is it good or is it bad? Is it friend or is it foe? And to further answer that question, we looked at 1,400 people's response to a triglyceride macronutrient challenge beverage, where we looked at their triglyceride response over a 2-hour window. And what we found was that everybody processes fats differently. For those on the left-hand side of the screen, they actually process fats really well. It's really productive for them, and they can have a wider range of saturated and unsaturated fats. For those on the right-hand side of the screen actually have a much harder time processing fats. And as such, they really should stick to plant and fish-based fats. Said another way, on the left, bacon is good. But of course, now don't go crazy. Don't go whole hog on the bacon here, folks. Literally eat responsibly. But on the right-hand side, we'd recommend you swap the piece of bacon for a slice of avocado toast. Now, for those on the extreme left, or you would say the far left, I actually recommend you sandwich those two together in a BLT with avocado. I mean, literally, what could be better than that? Now, we do know that some folks on the far left are actually militant vegans, so we're going to personalize this one step further, where we're going to swap out the bacon for some tofurkey. What do you think, guys? So the second question that we wanted to answer was, can we actually help people achieve their food goals with a personalized nutrition plan? And to do that, we actually created an 8-week pilot study where we had 20 active participants, and they had 2 self-described goals. The first one is they wanted to lose weight, but they didn't want to go on a diet. The second one is they wanted to increase their eating confidence. And so with that, everyone went through, first thing was an at-home test kit where we looked at 60 unique biomarkers from their DNA, their blood, and their metabolism. Second thing, they got a personalized nutrition plan that they could refer back to often on their phone and on their desktop. And then all received one-on-one and group coaching. And we actually had some pretty incredible findings. The first was that 74% of people lost weight in an 8-week period. The second, one individual actually lost 18 pounds, which happens to be the rough equivalent of a tire. So he literally and figuratively lost a spare tire around his waist. Very proud of him. And the third is that the total group lost 78 pounds. So now we've lost all 4 tires off the car. Now the next set of learnings we got had to do with change in eating behavior. 56% said they increased their non-starchy vegetable consumption. 43% said they decreased their sugary beverage consumption. And this one is quite remarkable. 26% decreased their alcohol consumption. And given how crazy the world is right now, I think this one is absolutely miraculous. We should give them a hand. Let's do it. Come on. These are actually amazing. In all seriousness, these are amazing results. But the one I think that I'm most proud of is that 83% of folks increase their eating confidence in social and emotional eating situations. Folks, eating confidence is a very powerful thing. Take Caitlin. She's a wife, she's a mother, she's a cancer survivor. For Caitlin, every food choice was like carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. She read, she studied, she amassed every diet and nutrition book she could get her hands on. But after she got a personalized nutrition plan, she actually pulled all of those books off the shelf, laid them on the floor, snapped this photo, posted it, and said no more. She took all of those, boxed them up, and shipped them to Goodwill. Because you see, for Caitlin, it was the first time she had confidence to know what foods were actually right for her. Imagine if you had Caitlin's confidence navigating the thousands of food choices in the grocery store. Imagine being able to know what foods are right for you on menus across the country. Imagine being able to know that every food you ate was nutrient-dense, data-rich, and just right for you. So the next time you flip over a product to see if it's something you should eat, I hope you move past a one-size-fits-all approach to one that's highly personalized, where you look inside of yourself for the answer to the question, what foods are right for me? Thank you.